Everybody, welcome back to Bayou Time. I'm Harry McCulla, and we're talking one of the coolest things I've heard about in a long time. It's the announcement from the Greater Lafourche Port Commission, the opening of the Coastal Wetlands Park and the Tidal Creek. Look at this. It's really cool. It's a jogging trail, but you're not jogging, you're floating, and it's a great way to do exercise on kayaks or any kind of boat. It was a great idea that they built some marsh down there and then decided to use some of it for a recreational and a tidal park. It's awesome. And we'll bring in Chett Chiasson, who's the Executive Director of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission, to talk about this. I hadn't seen anything like this before. What's the beginning of this, and how did you come across this tidal park?
Yeah, so we were working on a new development for Slip D, and we needed to do our mitigation for Slip D. And the original thought was, our plan was to pump it to the north of the port where we have the rest of our mitigation area. And when we kept looking at it, and we had an area immediately adjacent to this new Slip D development that was shallow open water and a little bit of marsh, broken up marsh. And we said, well, what if we would put the material in that location? So what we were able to do is, so we embarked on that, and we got our permit to do that. And we created just under 100 acres of marsh. But we were mandated to create about 68 acres of marsh for our Slip D development. So we were able to create a little more marsh than we were mandated to. So that gave us some flexibility to move forward with this coastal wetlands park idea. We worked with a local engineering firm in the Planners Design Group to come up with a master plan for us. So the initial phase of this is what you see here. This tidal creek that is open. We opened it last week, allowing folks we built a kayak launch and a wharf for people to fish off of and cast net or what have you. And that tidal creek meanders through the marsh area. Again, that was created by dredging material out of Slip D, and they're placed there, and folks can kayak in there, pirogue, canoe, whichever one you want to call it, or do. Non-motorized vessels, it has to be under manual, can fish and just enjoy the nature that you see there.
Right.
And as we move forward into the future, we're very excited about doing more out there. We'll have an elevated kind of educational facility that will be built. It'll be an open air type of small pavilion that'll be elevated with some viewfinders that we received a grant from Louisiana's Cajun Bayou for. And we're going to put some viewfinders up there. We'll also have a handicap accessible viewfinder on the ground that folks will be able to come in, see the types of plants that grow in this saline type of environment here in the port, and be able to see the different types of aquatic life and birds that are going to be out there, and other wildlife that are going to be out there utilizing this newly created marsh. In Port Fouchon. We're excited about that because of that fact, but it really highlights how industry and the environment can and do work very well together. You're going to have this beautiful lush out there, and the backdrop is the industry of Port Fouchon. But they can work hand in hand, and it wouldn't have been created without the help of industry wanting to be in the port.
Right. I've always thought there was some beauty in jack-up barges and cranes and all that kind of stuff. But you're right, working hand in hand like that. Now, the park opened up on the 13th, so last Friday it opened up. No motorized. Again, you have to paddle, so it doesn't matter what kind of boat, but you can fish. And it's a little over a mile. It's just the coolest looking thing. And, look, when you go down to Grand Isle or you go down LA1, it seems like every other car or truck down there has a kayak stuffed in the back, and when they have some of these rodeos with the kayaks, they get 500-600 people that are entering these things. So this will be a great spot for people around the country to come down and experience what's going on down here.
Absolutely, that's correct. That's the whole goal of this. It's educational experience, it's recreational experience, and it's really highlighting what's best about our region. here in Houma, Thibodeau region in Lafourche and Terrebonne parishes, and really showing what our working coast looks like and how we can enjoy it and work here all at the same time.
Yeah, no kidding. Great way to do that for sure. And to get people out and about and doing active things, it's always a great thing. We were giggling a little bit. It's like how many times do you hear we built too much marsh, right?
Yeah.
You built too much. So how's that project going, and is that a continuing thing that you guys do down there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're always doing things in terms of beneficial use of dredge material. We're currently in a dredge project right now, building over 200 acres of marsh to the north of the port. That'll give us when that's said and done, that'll give us about 1,300 acres of marsh that we've built through dredging our slips in Port Fouchon. So we're really happy to continue to do those types of things. And as we embark on some future development in the port, we're going to even be able to do greater things in terms of marsh creation to protect the port, to protect the assets of the port, and to protect the community further up the bayou from us. So we're excited about continuing to do that. And the Coastal Wetlands Park as well, we're going to continue to expand on the Coastal Wetlands Park, as I mentioned earlier, as well as the potential to have some walking trails through that marsh area.
Oh, yeah.
So that people can, if they're not kayaking, they still maybe could walk through it,
right?
And enjoy the beauty that we have here in South Louisiana.
Absolutely. Chett Chiasson, the Executive Director of the Greater Lafourche Port Commission. Thanks so much for joining us. Exciting times down there in Fourchon. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll be right back with more Bayou Time after this.